All right, so first bit of teaching straight off the bat. Let's look at some scripture, because at the end of the day, it's all being about Jesus, all right? And that's the name of the game here. You know, one of the reasons why I started Kingdom Business TV is because there are so many gurus in the world, and I don't want to be one of them at all, ever. But there are so many gurus in the world that are, using the modern mediums to spit out stuff that's just anti-Christ. You know, some of the people with the greatest platforms on social media are teaching, the very stuff that Jesus was against. And so I wanted to war against that a little bit and do my little bit to push back and get a bit of Jesus out there in the ether. So anyway, that's got nothing to do with what I'm going to teach. Today we're going to go to Colossians 3:23. Colossians 3:23. All right? And this is it. And you would have heard this before because you've been to church for more than 5 minutes, right? Here's what it says. Whatever you do, right? Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Anyone who does wrong will be repaid for their wrongs, and there is no favoritism. Whatever you do, some other Bibles say, whatever you find yourself doing, work at it with all your heart, as if you're working for the Lord, not for human masters. And it tells you get an inheritance. Why is that important? The journey of business is long. The journey of business is tough. And, there are so many things that want to throw you off the journey. To me, if you want to build a kingdom business, right, it starts with the king. You and I have to, as an absolute foundation, have this at our core, right? Why are we doing what we're doing? Are we doing it for human masters, or are we doing it for the Lord? All right? And so all I want to look at is 3 areas, right? 3 parts to this, which I think are important for us to get a handle on. Just some little tidbits, right? So we're going to call them, we'll go straight up here. We're going to call them provision. We're going to call them praise. Now, what do I mean by praise? I mean the words of man versus the words of God. All right? So that's what I mean by praise. And then we're going to look at the position. Okay. Now, there's more areas to life than just these 3, but these are important from my opinion. See, here's the thing. When we are building our business to the Lord, like as if we're building it for the Lord and not for human masters, then each of these areas come from the Lord. Our provision comes from the Lord when you're building for the Lord, right? Our praise comes from the Lord. And our position comes from the Lord. That feeling, that status, that pride in what we're doing, that comes from the Lord. However, flick over to human masters, all right? When you feel like your provision comes from man, other businesses, the economy, when you feel like your provision comes from earthly things, you will never, ever have enough. I promise you. Because you'll have to compare yourself. You'll be comparing yourself to somebody that's built a bigger business, somebody that's got more money than you, somebody that's bought better cars, somebody with a bigger house, somebody with bigger. When you're thinking about doing your business for earthly masters, you compare yourself to earthly masters and you will lose, all right? However, when we take a praise from man, right? When we get our praise from man, when we enjoy what people say about us, then the same will be said when they don't say nice things about us. We live in a world where you're going to get haters. You're going to get more and more haters, in the future than you will right now. If you do anything good in this world, you'll have haters. In fact, I can even tell you, if you want the bigger things you want to do for the Lord, the more haters you're going to get, right? Interestingly, my experience, when I share with non-believers how I want to raise up business people to fund projects, homeless, widow, orphan, and use business for that, every one of them thinks it's a brilliant idea. When I put stuff out on social, it's the Christians that pull me apart, believe it or not. Who would have thought, right? Just trying to do my bit. But if our focus is on a human master, then the praise and the pull downs will both detract from my journey, all right? But when I look at the praise from Jesus, then life gets a whole lot better. I can just look at the promises he says. What does he say about me? How proud he is of me. It's unconditional. That's the beauty of it, right? And the position. See, if I'm building for human master, then my position is conditional. Like, the world would appreciate me at this point, but if I do anything wrong and fall back, they cut you to pieces. Like, it's all gone. You know, if I'm interested in human praise and human position, right, then the minute there's somebody with a better position, I'm forgotten about, and then that's going to lead to disaster. When we build, right, when we do our business for the sake of the King, then we don't have to worry about the haters. We don't have to worry about, you know, puffing ourselves up to win. We don't have to worry about whether we have enough money, because we're not doing it for those reasons. Okay? See, when you start building for the King, it's an unconditional relationship. When you start building for human masters, everything is circumstantial, everything is situational, everything is conditional, and that's why it ends in disaster.